Okay, these are the skills you'll need for the coil method, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is make a coil, right? A coil is just a long tube-like thing, okay? So you're gonna start with something like, I like to start with a ping pong ball size, okay? I'm gonna put it in between my hands like this and push, okay? And then I'm gonna go back and forth really fast. So I'm gonna push my hands together and roll, and then stop, okay? Now you'll get something like this, like a little, I don't know, like a tiny little pickle, or I don't know, something like that, okay? So now, when you have that, then you can start making your coils, okay? So you're gonna put both of your hands here in the middle, and you're just gonna roll back and forth. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, I'm just rolling, okay? And it's important that you're rolling the whole length of your hands, okay, at first. And as you do that, you'll start to feel that that initial like kind of cylinder thing is getting longer, right? So you can see it getting longer, okay? Now let's take a look. Notice how it's a lot thicker over here and over here, but in the middle it's thinner. So when you see that, you're gonna adjust, okay? So you're gonna take one hand over here where it's thicker and push down and roll. And stop. And put your hand over here and roll back and forth. Roll the whole length of your hand and stop. So our whole goal is to make very uniform coils. So anywhere where you see thickness, where there isn't thickness somewhere else, then you roll there. Okay, so I can see it's thicker over here. And it's thicker over here too, so I'm gonna put my hands here, push a little bit and roll. Okay, and it will get longer and it will get more uniform in size as you keep going, okay? I can see these little bumps over here. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Okay, so I have a nice, long, very uniform looking coil. When you have your coils, I would suggest making a lot of coils first. And when you have them, you're gonna store them like I did. So you're gonna store them all together. And I have like a wet cloth. Okay, so you can use like a wet paper towel, for example. Okay, so now let's start making our piece. We're just gonna start with something like a pancake, so just like a flattened circle. Okay, for example, you can make any shape you want as a base, kind of, it's up to you, right? And I'm gonna start wrapping my coils around. And as I do it, you'll see how I build up, okay? The thing is, every coil, you have to stop and score, okay? So if you didn't see scoring and welding before, I'm gonna show you again. So these edges, I'm gonna score first. So I'm gonna take any kind of scoring tool, like a toothpick, for example, and I'm gonna score it. So I'm making these little scratch marks into it. And I'm doing this so that when my coils go around that area, they will permanently fuse to it with some water, okay? I'm gonna take a little bit of water on my hands, my fingers, just pat the edges because I'm preparing for those first coils, okay? All right, now I'm gonna start with my first coil. So I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna push in, kind of squeeze a little bit. And as I wrap my coil around, I'm pushing in. Okay, now I stop here. I've gotten here, okay? My next step would be to build on top of this, okay? But before I do that, I have to score this layer. Okay, again, a little bit of water all the way around. And now I build on top. I'm gonna smush it down a little bit. Now I take my next coil, okay? I've already scored this part. So I can put my coil right here next to this one. And we'll add a little bit more water and fuse them together in a minute. I'm gonna push them down like that. I get here and I stop, right? And I'm gonna start to build on top of the next one. So I'm gonna stop there. I score. Again, it's really important that you score and weld all of the places where your clay is gonna join. And I'm gonna put some water here. Otherwise, it will just break apart when it dries. Push down a little bit. Okay, now let's just say we wanna do some decoration, okay? Now, something cool you can do is like you can break a coil, for example. You could roll a coil if you wanted to, and that could help you build up. So if you wanted some decoration, maybe this is a good spot for some decoration, right? So I would just score the area of my decoration. I would also score the outside of where it's going to go. I want to make sure that I'm scoring and welding every part where two pieces of clay come together. Add some water, and I'm going to put this right here. Okay, so you can use your coil method for both decoration and to build your piece. So see what it looks like now, right? So I could keep going with that. I can build all kinds of different things just with these. You can do coils or little decorative loops like this, right? And you can add that anywhere you want. The whole idea is that you're building with coils. That's it. Okay, so this is what your piece would start to look like, right? It's going to look like coils like that. Okay. Now the inside, I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to start. I would build. I would take little breaks and I would start. Maybe after 3 layers, I would start kind of mushing these together on the inside, and that will give it a little bit of strength on the inside. You want it to be strong. So I'm pushing with my thumbs. You can also push with your sponge all the way around. And I'm kind of blending them together a little bit. I do that to give it a little bit more strength. The outside still has all the coils intact. You can also use like a brush or a sponge on the outside. And you can also, if you don't like the look of the coils, you can just use it as a building method, but then you can go in and smooth it all out if you want to. The basic idea is that you understand what you can do with coils. You can make decoration, you can build up, you can do anything you want. And coils also allow you, this is really cool, to make things like vases, right? So if I kept going with this, instead of going right on top of this and keeping it as a cylinder as I build up, I can start to bring it in, right? So imagine if I kept building all the way around, but every time I did that, I would bring it in a little bit more. I could start to form something that looked more like a bottle, like. So instead of making a cylinder that just goes straight up, I can start making something that has like a neck to it, right? By just building in. Okay, so that's another thing that coils allow you to do, is that instead of going straight up, like as the slab method does, you're making something more like this that starts to go in, right? And I can make it curve to go up like a neck, so you can do a lot of different things with the coil method. Okay, the important thing is that every layer you add, make sure that you're scoring, you're making little cut marks, and you're adding water and you're pushing it together a little bit. Okay, that's it. Enjoy.